Good afternoon. I know Trent's here. He'll be right back in. And to the other fellow board members, before we officially start, Dr. Howard was here, Rex was here earlier, and he's not feeling well. And so we actually asked for him to go home because he's feeling pretty bad and wearing a mask. So appreciate all y'all being here, and we'll give Trent an opportunity to get back in here real quick, and we can get started. So. In view of the time, let's officially call this 1:10, and thank y'all so much for being here today. And obviously, we'd certainly like to open with Chaplain Dan Baker. Dan, if you'd come forward and do our invocation, and then afterwards, would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Dan.
Thank you, sir. Let us pray. Lord, thank you for the gracious opportunity to serve your children who have been sick, injured, or just hurting from emotional trauma, whether they're in despair, depressed, or just discouraged. Let us come along beside them and give them a word that lifts up their heart, gives them hope, and gives them support, and lets them know that we will be with them to help make them better, whatever we can do. Thank you for the chance to serve in such an opportunity with so many wonderful people doing such great work. And we ask this in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Dan.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Point well made, Rap. Tammy, has anyone signed in? You might just double check. I did not see anyone. I don't think anyone signed in, but Tammy will confirm that. There being no individuals to address the board, then we will move along to item number 4, which is the approval of minutes. You all received these previously, and hopefully you review them. If there's any changes, we certainly make those. If not, I entertain a motion for the approval of the February 9th minutes. A motion by Chuck, second by Ralph. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you all so very much. The board chair report. My comments will be fairly brief. As I've said this before, I'm basically sitting out here looking at 3 former chairmen, so they know in this chair, in addition to all the meetings you do, there's 11 members of this board. And you'll notice per the committee reports and actions, in addition to the board, there's 4 standing committees, which have individuals on this board there, along with staff, people from the medical board and the committee. So we go to a lot of meetings. So I say thank you for your attendance, and everyone is eligible, and most everybody goes to all the meetings anyway. So I want to thank you for all that you do. I'll just quickly, before I give it to Robert, there's a couple things. One is, as chair, I get the privilege and the opportunity to do things that others before me have done and others afterwards will get to do. But on, I think it was February the 23rd, correct me, Tammy, we had the Excellence Award, the John Peter Smith employees. And, you know, we always thank our employees and say how great they are. But it's just great to see these are the 12 that was recognized for 2017. And we certainly, you've probably seen it, whether it's on the internet or whether it's the booklets. I had the pleasure of speaking at that. Ralph did it last year. So at the end of the day, it's a great group of people. It represents the best of the best. But, you know, Robert, to you, as I said that evening, and to the entire executive staff, and to all 6,500 plus employees of this district, I think we as a board say thank you every day for what y'all do. So it's really great in seeing these individuals and recognizing them. Also, just to bring you up to date, many of you probably saw the Star Telegram article day before yesterday. It's not directly, obviously, about JPS, but it does talk about the Blue Ribbon panel and the work's going on, and there's a great article in there about the direction where they think healthcare may be going. And again, along with all those other meetings, we have 2 members of this board who serve on this committee. So I thank Dr. Lowry, everybody, thank you, and Trent, thank you all for your time. This is one more, and those meetings tend to last a little time also, but thank you all for y'all's service there. And then finally, I'll just say this, as chair, again, get through some things that I want to read really the excerpts from a letter that came to me as chair of JPS. It's actually a carbon copy to you, Robert, as you know, and you know these ladies also. It just says, Dear Mr. Powell, encloses our annual summary of the Red Oak Foundation's contribution to JPS Health Network Clinics. In 2016, there was over 9,274 books given to children through our clinics at a cost of over $100,000 provided by the Red Oak Foundation. The other comment in this letter says, the enthusiastic assistance of the JPS staff has helped us ensure the success of this program. Again, it's just one more thing we continue to do. I actually took the time and stopped by Mrs. Bromley and Nan Matson, who I know who runs that foundation, to thank them personally on behalf of this board. And as I was thanking them, they spent more time thanking me, because they said no matter when they're in the clinics, no matter when they're helping these books go to the children, the JPS staff is always very helpful, very attentive, and this is across the entire district. So on behalf of this board, and Robert, I know Rebecca Brumley very well also, I thought it was important to stop by and say thank you. So again, Robert, other than just saying thank you everyone for being here, I think there being no additional for myself, I'd like to start the CEO report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple of things. I got quite a bit to relate to y'all because we've had quite a busy month since we saw y'all last. We concluded our town hall meetings. Y'all remember an evaluation that y'all gave of me, which was very constructive of about 3 years ago, the need to really reach out to the employees. And how were we reaching out to the employees? We just got done with our vibrant town hall meetings process, and we got done with 26 town hall meetings where we met with about 2,600 of our employees and told them what we're doing, why we're doing it, gave them the opportunity to ask questions and comment about things. That was really good. The other thing that I wanted to let y'all know, that you all know that we as a staff, particularly those who are the laymen in the organization, the non-medical, round on our patients. We go into the rooms, we talk to them. What we've added to that is night rounding. And we kicked off our first night rounding on February 17th. We as the executive team went out and rounded on our patients during the evening. And it was very, very profitable and helpful. Sometimes during the day you'll see different patients, and at night and you'll see a different group. The other thing that was helpful is we got to round on our night employees as well, which was hugely helpful to get their ideas and their attitudes, which is oftentimes going to be different than somebody that's working day shift. And we'll do that same thing on weekends as well, get that weekend shift folks in. So it's all helpful. I wanted to give you an update on that. About 6 months ago, I got a phone call from some community leaders in El Paso who had heard really positive things about what JPS was doing, how it handled its patient base. They had heard what we had done with our patient satisfaction scores and our employee satisfaction scores. And the public hospital in El Paso, along with about 15 community leaders from El Paso, flew to Dallas-Fort Worth to come meet with us at JPS. And we gave them a tour. They were pleased with that tour, and they went back to the community of El Paso and talked about some of the things we were doing. So we just then got a phone call a couple of weeks ago from the Sheriff's Department of El Paso asking us if they could come and tour and figure out how we deal with our patients that have behavioral health issues and psychiatric issues, and how you deal with that, how we help our police officers, how we help our law enforcement, how we do intake, how we do release. So we're going to have on March 24th, the El Paso Sheriff's Office will be coming, and we're really pleased with that, and pleased that we can be of help to people, to suggest things that we've learned, talk to them about things that you all, the board, has done to direct us and given us good direction. We've never quite hit the mark, I don't think, as an organization to recognize our doctors. There is a Doctor's Day. It's a nationally recognized day on March 30th, and we're gonna turn this thing around. And we're gonna let our doctors know how much we appreciate them and care for them. So we're going to have a variety of things scheduled through the day on March 30th, which will, now, JR, am I saying anything, or whoever's organizing part of this, am I saying anything I'm not supposed to? Because usually this is when y'all cringe and say, oh, he let out the big secret. Okay. Thank you. We as executives, I've done that before, and then I look up and I go, I'm so excited, and then everybody looks at me like, wait till we kill you when the meeting's over. But one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to invite all of our doctors to come in and have breakfast with us, and that breakfast will be served by the executive team. And then we're going to have a lunch for them. And at the lunch, we're going to be a little bit different, because at the lunch, we're going to invite the spouses. Because we understand to be a doctor here, it really is a family. Your family sacrifices for you to serve JPS, and we want to recognize that. So the lunch is going to be for doctors and their spouses, and then we're going to have activities throughout the day on the floors, at the clinics, and where the doctors are practicing. So it's just going to be an all-around great day, and we'll give you guys an update on that and give you pictures and let you know what took place. I gave a speech to a great group of people called the Silver Frogs. It's a group of active alumni and other community-involved folks at TCU. There were 200 people at the function that I spoke to, and to the dismay of the entire staff here, I invited all 200 of those people to come tour JPS. I thought that was a really good idea. Some of the staff were not as enthused as I was to have 200 people. 135 people took us up on that opportunity. So we gave a tour of 135 people, all Silver Frogs. We all learned that purple is our favorite color. We all made the sign of a frog, which I've learned, Mr. Stallings, proud alumni of TCU. There you go. I know y'all do that in your sleep, but we got that down, and it was a really nice tour. I think that gave 135 people in our community, many of which had never come to JPS, an idea of what we do and how we do it. So I was really pleased with that tour, and we had a very nice time with all the Silver Frogs. You all probably have seen the media that JPS received in the last month. It was very impressive. We had a level 1 trauma team was featured on Channel 8. We also had another function that was featured on Channel 11. The Channel 8 function was our Shattered Dreams program. Shattered Dreams program really emphasizes the challenges that we have with younger drivers, and those younger drivers who make some poor decisions when they choose to drink and drive. We hope that nobody in their home is setting that example as an adult, so we show what happens when you find yourself in a situation where you can't control that car, and what it means to be a level 1 trauma center in a world where life can be interrupted significantly when somebody's on the road drinking and driving. We try to emphasize that to our teenage population. That was featured on Channel 8, and then Channel 11 did a wonderful sort of day in the life of a trauma patient, and featured both Dr. Gandhi and Dr. Duane, and sort of looked at that process of what it means to be a level 1 trauma, and to what that also means. That was hugely powerful. We had on our Facebook page 94,000 views of that story. That's the highest amount of hits that we've had on our Facebook page looking at that story. So it's really impressive, and I'm really pleased that we were able to do that. I've had the ability at our town hall meetings to recognize 3 people that mean so much to this organization, but these 3 beautiful people that you see on the screen are examples of 1,700 nurses that work here. And Dorothy, I think that would speak to those who have been a part of JPS, and that includes you, and it includes good people doing great work. You know, as 1,700 nurses, they play a critical role. Those nurses are being recognized as the top 100 nurses in Dallas-Fort Worth. So we have the luxury of having Melissa and Wanda and Nancy here, and I want them to stand up only because I want one more opportunity to embarrass them.
No.
So. Nancy Radke has been such a stable force for us and helped so many of our patients for a good many years here at JPS, and she's great. Melissa is one of the most innovative nurses that you're going to find with new ideas and new aspects of how to deliver health care. Wanda has refused being nominated for this award, and the nurses have said, we'd like to nominate you, and Wanda has told them that they're not allowed to do that. So the nurses this year did not ask her. So they nominated her, and she was selected as one of the top 100 nurses, and it's well-deserved. So another round of applause for three incredible, wonderful people. And the last thing I'd like to say is, you know, it's interesting. We at JPS are oftentimes put in political crosshairs, and we are not a political organization. We deal with people who desperately need our help. We deal with people who have psychiatric issues and may not quite honestly know who they are, may see things that we don't see. We deal with people who have seconds to make a determination as to whether we can keep them alive and keep them in a world in which they can exist in a pleasant way. We try that every day in our trauma. We see so many patients in our community clinics in the hope that we can offset diabetes and we can offset things that can be helped significantly. So we just deal with patients that come in our front door. I know there's been a great deal of conversation about immigration, both at the national level, at the state level, and at the local level. What our goal is to take care of anybody that approaches our front door. Sometimes JPS is depicted as an organization that refuses care. We never refuse care to anyone. But our policy, just so you as board members know, in this debate of immigration, just to remind you of our policy and remind those who are live streaming, whether you, whatever your personal opinion is, the policy of this board and this hospital district is no one is refused care. However, if you are an individual that does not live within Tarrant County, or you are an individual who is undocumented, we will ask for a fee for those services unless you come under the guidelines of EMTALA, and we will take care of all of those needs as well. But I just wanted to remind you all as members, simply because of all the national debate that's on, where this hospital district is and who we serve and how we serve and how we try every day to make sure we take care of everybody that we possibly can within the guidelines that we have, both set up by the federal law and set up by this hospital district. So I want to thank y'all. Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for allowing me to do that. I know that was a little bit longer than my usual reports, but we've had a really good month at JPS, and we had a lot of things going on, and I wanted to recognize some key people and some of the key media we received. So, thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Excuse me. I was just wondering if it's possible, if the staff could at some point, some board meeting, since we are doing live streaming, do a presentation or an explanation on the effects of ACA.
Sure.
With connection and all that, just as a marketing tool to public.
And we're going to take that issue the same way we take a lot of our issues, and that is we will be providing the facts of what the Affordable Health Care Act is to JPS and what its effects have or not have been, and then should that act change and Congress take an approach that's different than what the current statute might be, we'll talk about what that potentially could mean or not mean, but we will stick very close to the facts as we know them. I know that the American Hospital Association, the Texas Hospital Association, the AMA, and the Texas Medical Association have put out documents. There have been, bless you, there have been political groups that have put out information as well. We'll try to decipher that and keep that in the realm of the reality of what it is, but we'd be happy to, Pastor.
Again, Robert, thank you very much. There is a lot of things going on. I couldn't help but notice, I still see Wanda back there, and obviously we thank her for what she did, but I noticed Melissa and Nancy's already headed back to their jobs, so that's just goes to show you the kind of quality that they want to do. And I do have one side note. I was at a church, and these two lovely, and I don't mean this to sound wrong, two lovely gray-haired ladies, I guess that's why they're called silver frogs for the, you know, we got maroon over here and purple over here and orange in the middle, but At the end of the day, these two lovely ladies came to me on church, these two lovely ladies came to me at church and started just raving about JPS, Robert, the job you did, and JR, I know your staff was involved in all that, and I know likewise Amanda through the foundation, they do tours. It's just amazing the individuals that literally, in that group, these two ladies had never been on this campus, and one of them had lived in this town their entire lives. And it's just amazing to see the excitement they had, Robert. So again, that's just one more of those things that having people come through here is just amazing when they leave here, what they feel like, the experiences they get at JPS. So thank you very much, Robert.
You bet.
Moving along to item number 7, Dr. Ziegler, any comments?
Next month, I'll be bringing parts 3 and 4 of the bylaws. I know I said I was going to bring it this month, but there's still a little bit of minor tweaking, and for certain, it'll be brought here to the board next month.
Mr. Norris, you'll just have to wait one more month to get those to review. Anyway, Dan, thank you.
Send it to come to the next meeting,
That's
Mr.
right.
Norad.
Dan, quick question.
Certainly.
Because I know sanctuary is a big word that's being thrown around in Texas right now, but my understanding, I read this in the paper, that hospitals are exempt from any sanctuary laws. Is that right?
I'll turn to council.
I'm going to turn to Kev.
Yeah, I'm going to look this direction.
I caught that. I caught that.
I don't even know what sanctuary
Yeah,
means, quite frankly. so.
In Texas, first of all, there's no legal definition of that, even nationally. But in Texas, it's just a term, and it's a term used by certain groups. And right now, the governor has sent out some edicts regarding spending of state funds and people that claim to be that. But as far as there being something exempt or legal, there's really not even a legal definition of sanctuary city. It's not even sanctioned, let me say it that way, legally. So as far as hospitals, I see no effect.
All right. Dan, any other comments or anything else from your area? Dan, anything else?
No, I just
Great.
read in the paper that it said that hospitals would be exempt
Right.
from any rules and laws that are passed.
Lawyers. Number 8, James, you're right there. Dr. Johnson? Keep things moving.
Yes, sir. For the acclaim update, I didn't have any specifics to bring back on specific questions from last month, although I did want to give you a high-level overview of just the other things we have talked about. We continue to recruit for all of our open positions. Right now, we're seeing most of those in the primary care area. We are aggressively pursuing those. On our clinical leadership national searches that were discussed in January, we're right on target with the action plan on those. We launched those searches last week. We've already had a profound response to that we're very proud of. We have put our selection committees together. We completed them, or at least completed them for now, with adding membership from the acclaimed board of directors, also from this board of managers after February's meeting. Mr. Montgomery, we had what's the name of that committee? Education, and the education committee met, and Mr. Montgomery had said that he thought it best that I talk to individual members about it. Many of the members that were at that committee actually filled those positions where we have at least one member on each of those selection committees. However, I'm going to kind of circle the table after the meeting here and see if anyone else has interest in being on those committees as well. Certainly having more than one would be fantastic if we can get that. So again, everything going well there. Strategic plan is in progress and going well related to addressing the opportunities identified in the physician engagement survey that we talked about in February, part of that being Mr. Early's discussion of the March 30th celebration of Doctors' Day. And we're very thankful for all of your support there, sir. And to one of DT's prior questions, the MIPS, or Merit-Based Incentive Program, we're diligently working to gather data, so we're prepared for the launch of that as well. That concludes my report, unless there are any specific questions.
Any particular questions for James? Again, James, you might mention who the committee members are currently. I know on behalf of the board, Steve chairs that educational committee. I know Dorothy's on that board and on that committee, and also Dr. Lowry is.
Lowry.
And then you're on that along with Dr.
Rosenia and Dr. Luke, I think.
Good, thank you. So, well, thank y'all. That's just now getting started up, and Oh, there's several more meetings planned, and thank you all for taking that on, Steve. Thank you. So, anyway, thank you, Dr. Johnson. Which brings us now to the committee reports and action, and the first one being that of the Finance Committee.
Yes, sir. We had our meeting on the 23rd, and Sharon gave us updates on the financials. Those are graphs and information are in your book this month. We also passed a number of contracts, and I want to just highlight two before, at the appropriate time. I'd like to actually pull them off consent. They're on consent currently, and I'll walk through at the appropriate time. But number of very important contracts that we've recommended for approval by the board, and that's all my report.
Good deal. Any questions for Steve? If not, Trent, Planning Committee? Yep. I know y'all been busy.
Did meet, and I think the most exciting thing to come out of planning was Angie showed us a picture today that there is now a sign on the new northeast site. So thank you very much for Angie. We have further report that will be in executive session, Mr. Chair.
Super. Thank you very much. Next is governance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We met on February 23rd. A good time was had by all. We had an ERM update from Ron, and actually on the board portal, there are 2 risk profile summaries that Ron and his team had a very successful rollout with. I would invite you to take a look at those. Also, compliance program report and internal audit report. There's no action, so we're good.
Good. Thank you very much, Roger. And then quality, Dr. Lowry?
Mr. Chairman, Quality met the 2nd of March, a week ago today. We struggled through a new chairman, but he didn't mess anything up too badly. All reports were handled. We had a backlog of information, but everything came out of Quality on a routine basis. May I also add briefly, I'm still Roy Lowry, DO. I keep seeing it on the thing. I don't want anyone thinking I'm representing myself anything but what I am. There are a lot of people wonder if some quality MD degree was going to be offered to me, and so far it hasn't.
Well, great. I appreciate you chairing committee. Having attended most of those committee meetings, I know a lot goes on, and it sounds like a very short report, but at the end of the day, a whole lot goes on in those committees. Thank y'all very much. The only other thing I think at this particular point in time is the consent agenda. I think, Steve, you said you had
Yes, sir.
an
There's
action.
2 I would respectfully ask that we remove from consent, and that's item G and H.
Okay. All right. Anything else on the consent agenda? Then I guess I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda as it stands with items number G and H being pulled off.
So moved.
Have a motion, have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Thank you very much. Steve, is there any follow-up to those items you want to?
G and H. I do want to recommend, and we can take these up individually, but I do want to recommend that we move them forward. But DT and I had an opportunity after the Finance Committee to talk about some of them. And he's got expertise in this area and had some concerns about not the selection process or the vendors, but some of the structure of the contracts, and had some great ideas that we want to sit down and share with staff. And so my recommendation is that we do approve these contingent on DT and I having the opportunity to work with staff and make a recommendation to you and the CEO to approve them after we've had a chance to vet out some of those issues.
So we continue the process as it moves along.
They're not slow the operations down.
I would take that as a motion for approval with that stipulation.
And do we need to do separately, council?
G and H.
ought to do separately.
All right, we'll do G, which is the professional service agreement between Change Healthcare Solutions and the Tarrant County Hospital District. So, yes.
Just a quick question. As far as pulling them off and moving them forward with input from you guys, is there a timing issue on these in which they can't be tabled until the next meeting for the full board to review?
Yes, that's correct, yeah. Now, I will say, if we get into some discussion and there's substantial changes, we would certainly bring that back to the full board. We don't anticipate that. We think there's some minor fixes, important but minor fixes.
I'll take that as a motion on item number G. Is there a second? Have a second by Chuck. I'm sorry, Ray.
No, I just want to ask, even though it's minor, if once, I think that's what Roger had the concern to, if once that's worked out, at least we would be informed on what those were.
Great point.
Yes.
Certainly would.
Have a motion, and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you very much. And I hate to
Same
say
motion
assumption,
on-
but I assume you're going to
Same
make
motion,
the
yes, sir.
same.
Same motion on H, and with the addition of Reverend Emerson's, that we will report back.
There wasn't an opportunity for an oppose, and
Oh,
I
I'm
would
sorry.
be an oppose.
I apologize.
Thank you.
Opposed on G. We're now voting on H. So we have before us a motion on H. And do we have a second? Second. We have a second on H. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Opposed. Okay, thank you. All right, that should take care of those items, which would then bring us down to the, I'll ask general counsel, is there anything?
Yeah, I have something I got my annual report on down. This is an annual report that I've submitted every year. We had the general counsel's 7. The first page is fiscal year 2016, and then the second page, or behind the cover page, the second page behind the cover page is a comparison of fiscal year 2015 to 2016. The only thing that I would point out to you is on the comparison under general counsel, back when Trent was chairman of the board, you will note there's an asterisk referring to asterisk 1. Trent and I sat down and worked out a retainer agreement for certain items. I will tell you that if you took the retainer per month for 12 months, divided it by the fiscal year 2015, 1,735.6 hours, the net effective hourly rate on that in fiscal year 2015 was $159 an hour, and the net effective rate, billable rate was $155. So, and the rate under my arrangement is $225 an hour, so the retainer trend is doing what you anticipated it would, and in terms of getting some additional value to the district. And I'll be happy to answer any questions, or particularly answer any questions afterwards. Feel free to give me a call anytime you've got a question related to this.
And this is.
That just is submitted for your information.
Yeah, this is submitted as information, and does not require action at this time. Is there any other legal issues?
No, I don't have that.
Okay. There being none, I know I will so advise, I believe, as Robert and Trent indicated, closed session may be a little more lengthy today than in the past, but there being no additional information here, I think we will now at 1:45 move to closed session. Thank you. 5-minute break? Yeah, I'll say 5 minutes. The privileges list before you. If you have any questions, Dr. Ziegler would be glad to do it. If not, I'd entertain a motion for approval.
I make the motion, we approve them.
I have a motion by Dr. Weber and a second by Mr. Montgomery. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Thank you very much. That is all the business, unless there's anything else to come before the board. I will say thank you. I know how busy your schedules are. Rex had to leave. Obviously, he's not feeling well. When you add Rex here, we have 100% attendance. So with everybody's busy schedules, thank y'all very much for being here. And if there is no additional business, we stand adjourned. Thank you.
You can, yes, because